Hey everybody, welcome to the video today. I'm talking about the speaker upgrade I'm going to be doing to my Ford Ranger. It's got the B&O 10 speaker system. Mine's the Ranger Raptor. That's the only option you have for the stereo. Normally when I buy a vehicle, I want the bone stock stereo so I can upgrade it myself because I feel like I'm wasting the upgraded stereo when I put my own stuff in it. Didn't have a choice in this one. It does sound pretty good. I just want a little bit better, a little bit more clarity. The mids and highs are a little bit muddy in this. Not bad. I'm not an audiophile. I have some hearing loss from flight school, but I can still tell it's not what I want it to be. I already added an 8-inch hideaway sub made by Kicker. You could fit the 10 in there as well. I wanted the 8 just for punchier bass. I don't need that really loud, like shaking your chest bass. I just wanted that solid, really tight bass. So these are going to be in the front doors. It's a 6x9. It comes with the mounting ring that fits directly in. It's got the holes to mount into a Ford. Super easy. I already put it in once, but I've taken it out because I didn't actually wire it. I just wanted to see if it fits. They fit perfectly. And then you've also got the tweeters. These are going to replace the tweeters in the A-pillar. I got wiring harnesses right here to just plug into the existing wiring harness and then tie into here. So I don't have to cut anything. I don't have to solder anything. That's not very hard to do. These only cost me 12 bucks for a pair, so it's not like it was a lot of money. In the past, I've always just cut it, soldered it, put some heat shrink, and go. In the backs, I'm using these 6.5s. Same thing. These are Pioneer A-Series. They're direct replacement pretty much. The crossover that exists, normally when you buy a component speaker, you get a separate crossover. It's like a brick. Signal goes in, and it's the full range signal, and then you get 2 signals out, one for the mids, one for the tweeters, and it does that. This is the wiring harness that came with these. This is their version of the crossover. It's basically one little capacitor in here with a little bit of other circuitry. I took some sound clips. I did that with the stock. Once I install it, I'm going to do it again with these. So not only can I tell you, hey, I hear this difference, I think it sounds better, but you can look at this little chart and say, that guy's full of crap, it looks the exact same to me. Or, oh man, you can totally see where this is more balanced. You can't see clarity. You can't see like, oh, those highs are muddy based on this tiny graph where it's like every 500 hertz is one big bar that goes across. But it's better than nothing. I like to have numbers to compare. So you can look at the overall decibels at volume 20 on this stuff was like 84 and then, or on the existing. And then with this, we don't know, maybe it'll be 82, but it'll sound way better. Or maybe it'll be 88 and it sounds like shit. And I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have done this. What a waste of money. Don't buy this. But I have 2 weeks to return this stuff if it's no good. I don't expect that to be the case. I've used Pioneer in the past. And really, when you're looking at like the lower end, these were like $100 speakers, $200 for the whole setup here. I'm not expecting amazing things. Focal makes a very similar type of thing, but they charge like $350 for it. And the reviews I've read, some people love it. But I think the people that put those in just want a very easy fit, and anything that sounds better is good for them. If you're like audiophile, you're gonna need like Klipsch or MB Court or just like the really high end. And I'm just saying those because those are brands I know. I'm not an audiophile. I'm sure there's brands I've never even heard of. But this is gonna be good enough for me. In the past, I've used Rockford Fosgate, I've used Alpine, I've used MB Court. I've gone through a lot of the different types of speakers. And to be honest, if you're in a similar price point, they're going to be pretty similar. Kicker is more, from my experience, more bass heavy. Rockford Fosgate is pretty good all around. Alpine, to me, focuses more on the highs and the mids. MB Court is all about the quality for the ones I've had. But again, that's just my experience. And I've installed stereos in maybe 10 or 12 of the cars I've had, and I've helped some friends. But I'm not doing this every single day, 2 cars a day, and have tons of experience. Also, tuning is not my forte. So like I just tune based on what I hear and I'm adjusting as I go. There are people that have like pink noise CDs and all these spectrum analyzers and they're doing it, no kidding. The one car I had that had a professionally tuned stereo sounded so much better than anything I've ever put in any vehicle. And it just blew my mind. So I know there's something to be said for that. For the pros that do this stuff for a living, they could probably make with a couple better tools. All we have in our truck is treble, mids, and bass as adjustables. You don't have any more definition that you can go in and adjust things a little bit better. So with a couple more things like, I don't even know what they're called, but the things with all the little dials, like your dad might have had one when you were a kid where you can play with them and you probably didn't even hear the difference, but he might have known what to do and you get the little waves and whatever. Now I'm just talking about random crap. So when it stops raining, I'm gonna install these things and I will show you what it actually sounds like. Just so you guys can see, I'm doing this on my phone. I'm recording on my phone. I've got my DJI microphone right there, so this does not compare to like the noise level when I was driving with the doors and stuff. I did that on the microphone on this camera, not this DJI microphone. So that's what we're doing now. I'm gonna pick a couple other sound clips we can do. Overall sound quality is better. I would say twice as good. Well, twice as good, that's hard to say. It is significantly better, totally noticeable. What I would say, I would almost say at the same, and I'll see this when I check the decibels before and after, at the same volume, it's almost a little bit quieter, but much crisper. So I think these speakers also have to break in a little bit, and it usually takes about 30 or 40 hours of playing music for the speakers to really break in. So we'll see what happens with that, but I am really happy with them. There's one test that goes from like 10 hertz all the way up to 20,000, and on the stock speakers, when it hit like 12,000, you couldn't hear it anymore. It just completely died off. On these, it goes all the way up to 15,000, which, I mean, I don't know how many songs go up to 15,000, but you can tell the range is there. It's crisper the whole way up. There's no more like muddy mids and highs. It all just sounds really good. And then with all the sound deadening, you don't have to turn it up very loud anymore anyway to hear everything. So I'm really happy with it. I'll probably listen to some music with like a bunch of cymbals and stuff to really see how I like it, but much better. I'm glad I did it. For $200 for all four speakers, to me, it's a no-brainer. I will probably end up doing an amplifier to get even more power, because these will sound even better with like 45, 50 RMS watts going to each speaker. And they can handle up to 75 for the backs, 105 for the front. So the speakers and the sub, great. I will check center channel speakers, what options there are for that, but I don't know too many, 2.5 or 3-inch speakers out there where you can just buy one of them. But I haven't looked very hard either, so maybe it's a very common thing. I'm going to look for that next, but for now, I'm really happy with it. All right, this is the driver's side. This might be the best camera angle, so this will be the one I show in regular speed. One of the metal clips fell inside the door panel. Good thing we're taking it off. So I already showed how to take the door panels off in the video where I did the insulation behind the door, but I'll do it again. So you take this cap off up here, pull this trim piece off. It has a clip here and here, and then 3 clips that go there. So that's 1, 2, and then the 3 around. One of them fell off and went in the door panel, so I'll get it as I get in here. There are 2 T20 screws, and then there are 2 T20 screws down at the bottom. And then for me, to get these clips out, I usually just get plastic trim type piece in there, and then this metal one on the clip itself, and just pry it. And then once you get one side, you can just pop the other one. It's a lot easier. There are 3 electrical plugs you have to undo. And the last thing you got to do is this mechanical thing. You just pull the top, go like that. I use a trim tool in the last one, but it just snaps on, so you can just use your finger, pull the top part over, snaps right out. You can push on this thing to pull it out. I just put a little pry tool, push the button in there, and pull it out that way. Makes it a little easier. 7mm. I guess if you haven't watched the other videos, it's a paper cone. I mean, pretty, I don't want to say weak magnet, but it's kind of small. Stuff doesn't stick to it nearly as much as like it sticks, but that's like not that strong of a magnet compared to, let me show you the other one we're putting in. So this is the Pioneer speaker we're putting in. The magnet on this one, it's, I mean, Not crazy strong, but it's definitely stronger than that other one. On the trim ring, you've got to break this top piece off. This is for like a different car where it snaps in there. So I found the easiest way to do it was take a pair of wire cutters, put it in the groove, snap there, snap there, and then it just comes right off. And then the same thing, the holes we're using on this are this one and that one, this one and that one. You'll see the clip holes for the door panel are here and here, which when it's on there are covered by this and that. So we gotta do the same thing. They've got the little marks there. So we're gonna cut these two pieces of trim off. I wanna show you guys something really quick. Inside the door panel, you can see it's rainy around here, so there's water inside there. Inside your door panel will get wet because the window goes up and down. The window has water on it. When it comes down, most of it gets squeegeed off, but a lot gets in there. That's why you have this. I mean, on old cars, it used to be a clear piece of plastic with that black goo, that same black goo all over. It's a vapor barrier. It keeps water from coming inside and getting on the inside of your door panel. The backs of the speakers are made to be able to handle a little bit of water. They can't be submerged, but they're made to get wet. So just wanted to show you, if you get in there and you see water, don't be worried about it. That is normal. And I found that little clip I was telling you that fell off. So I'm gonna put it back on here. You'll see it, it has a fat side and then the clip side. The fat side goes in that groove and then it just snaps in there. That right there is the same as that right there. So this is gonna plug into this wire, and then these two wires are what are gonna go to the speaker. When this is tightened, there's still a tiny bit of a gap right here. So you gotta run the wires somehow back to this part. And I'm just gonna do it like this. Has a little bit of play. It's just plastic. It's not gonna strip it and ground out the wires. So 7mm for the speakers, 6mm to take the grab handle off the passenger side, 8mm to get the grill off, all the bolts holding the grill together, 10mm to get the negative terminal off the battery. So everything's metric. Get yourself a good set of metric wrenches before you start messing with all this truck stuff. All right, now this thing, like I said, goes back on. This part that sticks in goes in here because this is what mechanically attaches to the doorknob. It's snapped in. So now if we test it, it works. Now I'm going to hook the wires back up. So I will show you those two screws right here, right here. Those are the two Torx screws down there. And then for in here, the screw's going to go in that hole and that hole. Normally I would not tighten screws that go, metal screws that go into plastic with a power tool, because you don't want to strip it out. That would be a bummer. But I'm not really getting it super tight, but it's good enough. And then all we have left is the trim pieces. Got all 5 clips on there, lined it up. Good to go. And then this little guy, so this white plastic one just goes in here in a piece of plastic. That metal one and that white one go there and there. I've been having a little bit of rattling, and I think it's actually this little trim piece. That's just weather seal. I doubt that's it. So it has a little bit of play. I'll figure something out. So I'll show you, the driver's side is a pain. You get the clips off, but then it's attached by these two things. They tie in up there. I'm gonna try to reach behind them with some pliers and see if I can pop those things out, because it makes it very difficult to twist it enough to get the two, come on, there we go. So I got them out, but it's still gonna be really hard to work on that tweeter with it in there like that, because I can't really get to it and make sure I'm mounting the new one correctly. So I'm going to try to get those things out of there or out of here. It's just like a piece of plastic that goes in there. So I'm gonna figure out how to get these off. Once I figure it out, I'll let you guys know. Okay, I figured it out, and it's super annoying. You can see there's like a pretty big groove in there, right? Both of them have it. There's that big groove in there. And then on the end of it, you have two different things going in two different directions. So you get one in, turn it 90 degrees, get the other one in, and then it's stuck in there. It's really hard. I tried like pushing on the inside on the back of this to try to get this whole clip to come out. Wasn't happening. I'm sure if I spent enough time, I could have gotten it, but I probably would have broken some plastic. But anyway, that's it. You get the first one out, twist it 90 degrees, other one out. So now we know. The tweeter is just held in by a couple little clips all the way around here, and it just pops right out. It's not that difficult. I say that, and then trying to do it with one hand is not the easiest, but trust me, I'm gonna get it. Ta-da, I got it. Anyway, 3 clips. It's held on by this, and, well, I can't even see what I'm doing. So this, that, and that. They have little hooks on them that holds it in there. So now, the tweeter that we're going to be putting in there, I've lost it already. What's happening here? Ah, here it is. So we will see if it just snaps in. Negative, it does not just snap in. This thing is the ring for the tweeter. I'm gonna shave it down until it fits and snaps in there, and then the tweeter will just snap inside of this. That's what it fits into. So that's what I'm gonna work on. That was pretty easy. I used a pair of wire snippers. Hold on. So I used these wire snippers to trim all the way around. This is what I ended up cutting off of it. And now it fits in there perfectly. It's like super tight in there too. It's like, it's not even moving. This is tighter than the old tweeter was. This kind of bends away from it, but that's just there to push it back against the clips. So this is gonna work pretty well, I think. And then I will snap the tweeter into here. So you just snap it in. There you go. So now the tweeter's in there. Now I just gotta wire it up. And I'm gonna use 2 little connectors just to tie them together. I'm gonna cut this back to about here, I think, so that I have enough to put this back on if I ever need to. So my tool here only goes down to 22 gauge.
We're ready, Dad.
For what? To go ride?
Yeah, look at it.
Hi, Gretchen. Oh, I love her saddle pad. Have fun, Allie. All right, chaos at the barn. My kid was riding her horse, and then a pig that had a bag stuck on its head ran out in front of her, and she had to emergency dismount from the horse, and the pig was freaked out, and the horse was freaked out, and my kid was freaked out, but everybody's okay. So back to this. So I'm just plugging this tweeter in now. So I'm going to tuck this wire back in there as much as I can, and then just put this panel back on. And then when I get home, I'll do the other side. But that's what everything looks like in there. I'm about to stick everything back in, get all the wires tucked in, and clip those guys back onto these guys. Then I'll be done. Sometimes you just gotta use a little force. So it's all tucked back in there. The seal is on the outside of everything. Snapped it back in because I punched it because I was getting frustrated. Sometimes that's all you need. Put the stubby antenna on here. Looks better. I never even listen to the radio, so I don't even need an antenna, but it's on there. Here's a quick overview of the speakers that came in the Ranger Raptor with the B&O 10 speaker. So this is what was in the back doors. They're pretty good. They are 4 ohms, 25 watts. And I mean, it's a coaxial. It's got the tweeter in there, but it's not in the cone down there. So it's pretty nice. Crazy that the door speakers are bigger than the subwoofer. So you had the 2 in the back, you have the subwoofer, and then these were in the door, 6x9s. They're pretty decent sized speakers. Pretty tiny little magnets for a 6x9, but they put out decent sound, and this was the tweeter that went along with it. This was up in the A-pillar. Tweeters were pretty darn good, actually. I could have gotten away without switching the tweeters over, but I figured I wanted the tweeters that match the speakers I put in the truck. This is the B&O 10 speakers, so when you add it all up, you have one in the middle of the dash, like right there. And that's like a 2.5 or 3 inch speaker. And then you have your subwoofer. So there's 2 speakers. Then you have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They count this as 2 speakers because it's a tweeter and a mid, even though it's the same thing, but they're separated a little bit. I would call that 1 speaker. It's a coax, but they're calling it 2. So there's your 10 speakers. What I have in there now are the Pioneer 6x9s with tweeters. I just replaced the existing tweeters. They fit in there really well once I trimmed the housing a tiny bit with a pair of wire cutters, not the truck's housing, but the housing for the actual tweeter that came. For now, I just wanted to see what I could do for plug and play, and this is a great option. So I did the 8-inch subwoofer, that was less than 200, and then I did all this, which was less than 200, but I also bought the wiring harnesses, so that was another 20. So the whole thing was under 400. I think the sub was 170, the speakers were 110 for the 6x9s, 80 for the 6.5s, and then the 2 sets of wiring harnesses were 12 a piece. So $400 for the entire thing. Like I said, it's kind of crazy to think I paid for the B&O, but I didn't have an option. But the B&O was in here, and I just tore all of that stuff out to put in something else. So it is what it is. People will think I'm crazy. I like it, so go figure.
It's over!